Alrighty, I guess we are live here today with our hangout. My name is Thomas, and I'm gonna be your host here today on our hangout. And today I got Maros and John with me here. And John, how are you doing from Boston today?
I'm well, Thomas. Thank you. Beautiful day here today. It's always great to hook up with both of you guys. I'm not always able to hit it at the same time zone that you guys are on. You guys are both in Europe, and I'm in Boston, which is
Yep.
some many hours earlier. It's only 2 in the afternoon here, but it's really great. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, John. And yeah, I think the weather here in Denmark is getting better now. It's actually getting quite warm, and you can walk outside in a t-shirt and get some sun. And I definitely can feel with myself that do something with my mood and my energy. And it's just great that the sun is shining and beautiful weather here. And great to be outside. So, and we got the Maros with us here from Germany. You just living a few hours south from me here in Denmark, and everything cool in Hamburg?
Yeah. Hamburg is cool, and weather is improving from day to day. Spring is coming in, so
Yeah.
it's a good feeling.
And actually, I thought you were going to be in Copenhagen yesterday. There was a marathon in Copenhagen yesterday, and one of my friends went over there and did it. And I'm going to meet him tomorrow. And I talked to him today, and he was planning on laying in the sofa with his legs up all day. So I think he was a little painful. But I guess it's only, what is it, 1 week or is it 2 weeks since you did the marathon in Hamburg?
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, actually. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
correct.
so it might be a little torture to do one after every 2 weeks, but I know some people have this do these crazy things with marathon. They do one every week or something like that. So it's I still think that's a little fascinating that you guys are doing marathon. It's it takes a lot of practice, and also I understand a lot of it is it's mindset. It's really you really get to know yourself in a way that it's not really possible to do any other way to push yourself to the limit to go through a marathon. So, but it's maybe you're going to talk more about that today, Maros. I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to hear a little about your story today, Maros, and I've been looking forward to this. Get to know you a little better, hear about what's been going on in your life, up and downs and stuff, and so we are gonna, in a way, kind of see you naked here and hear your story, and then hopefully we will get in the end to ask you a few questions about some stuff. So I guess we just gonna hit it and get going. And Maus, I'll just turn it over to you, and let's hear a bit about your story.
Sure. Well, I can share some stuff from my life, and then you guys can ask me anything you would be interested in. I just want to start with what I'm into at the moment, and I've been into almost all my life, and it's sport. I was actually born actually to do sports because as far as I can remember, I was always doing some kind of sport, and as a kid, I started skiing. That was like the first thing that I learned. When my father, brought me to sport, and then I started to swimming, and I did some other sport arts as well. So I was always into sports, and it was kind of something that always caused me to enjoy, caused me pleasure, and always when I was in trouble in my life, I came back to sport. Always sport was something always that kind of saved my skin, saved my life. And as far as I can remember, always if there was some kind of problem, then I just spent some time doing something I loved, and most of the time it was sport, and I felt better. So that's why I'm into this niche at the moment. That's why I'm talking a lot about sport, about marathon. I'm doing marathon myself. The last time 2 weeks ago. Maybe one of my worst marathons in my career, actually, because my best time is like 3 hours 15, and that marathon was like 4 hours. And like I was walking a lot during this marathon, I'm not used to walk during the marathon, but I had to because I had so much pain, and I was in a lot of pain just because I didn't train enough. I was just I concentrated on swimming and biking more than on running last couple of months because I wanted to do triathlon again this year, and it's coming in July here in Hamburg. So maybe that's why I just skipped some training units regarding running, and that's why it turned out to be done like pretty hard for me this time. But it still felt the same, after you finish the marathon, you still feel, you have this great feeling, and it's kind of a great accomplishment, even though you are not the first, right? I mean, most probably I will never be the first one, but I still have this crazy goal, guys, and I can share with you now that I still want to be the best, and I might be best maybe when I'm 70 or 80, but this is like this crazy goal. I said to myself, maybe when I'm 80 or 70 to be the best in my age group. What do you think, guys? I think that's pretty kind of doable goal. So I've just recently saw a picture of the guy who's 95 years old. He's running marathons, and he's breaking all the records, all the world records. And because in his age group, he's one of the best guys, because he's 95. So maybe I hope that's my destination too. So one day I will break all the world records, just because I want to keep pushing myself, until I die. So and I have no problem with that. So I was actually born in a country where we didn't have a freedom at all. It was at the time Czechoslovakia was a communist country, and you guys know about communism something, about the Cold War, and it was pretty. These times were pretty moving, and I was at the time a young child, but I still remember some stuff, what was going on, how people were thinking, how they had this fear of showing what they think, saying what they think, do what they want to do. There was always this fear all around you. And I remember even when I was at school, and they were just testing us kids, like they were asking, so who is going to the church on Sundays? And it was, at that time, it was forbidden. It was a pretty bad thing to do. In this regime, it was actually forbidden to go to the church. So I was kind of a rebel. I don't know why. I really loved rebelling all my life. And I just raised my hand, and I stood up, and I said, not because I wanted to show off something, or just to be, like brave or something. And I just wanted to see what happens. So I did that, and they were pretty like amazed that somebody raised a hand and showed like, like almost no fear. And as I said, I didn't want to show off something. I was just curious what would happen. So they were pretty surprised that something like that happened. But the funny thing is, they were not prepared for that. So they didn't know how to react. So they say nothing. They did say nothing. They just told me, okay, sit down. That's enough. So and nothing happened. So it was really curious. And only after couple of hours, I believe even the next day, my teacher came to me and asked me, are you crazy? Are you totally crazy? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? So it was like the teacher was actually believing that I'm punishing him, that I have something against the teacher. That's why I raised my hand. So and I didn't think about it in that way at all. So it was just my own thing. So it was really funny. So and then I was 14, and the revolution came. I went to the streets, and again it was like something exciting for us, because at that time the teaching and the learning and all these classes were cancelled, and we were happy, not because of the revolution, because at that time we didn't understand what's going to happen, but we were happy that the classes were cancelled. So we went to the streets just because the class was cancelled, and we were in the streets, and protesting and just shouting and being around. But I didn't, at the time I was 14. I knew there is something big coming, and I knew that it has a big meaning. And you just feel this atmosphere, you feel what's going on, but you don't know actually what will happen, and nobody knew at that time. So it was really pretty amazing times, all this revolution, all this regime falling apart, and nobody actually knew what is going to happen, and slowly things starting to change, but I was a busy kid. I was doing sport, I was visiting some classes, and so things slowly changed, and you realize in the retrospective after a couple of years you look back and then you realize what actually happened and why it happened the way it happened. So that was kind of like some trip into the politics at that time. And I'm pretty lucky that I was able to see all this change. So and then I was just pretty normal kid, normal stuff in my life. I just wanted to study, and I studied languages, and then I traveled the world a little bit, and unfortunately. I wouldn't say this unfortunately, but I met a girl, and we split, and now we are living that life that I'm living alone, single. She's with my child. We got a child. We got a daughter. I'm visiting this daughter, and I was pretty depressed about that as well. That fact that I wasn't able to to kind of keep that relationship going on, and again, the thing that helped me to overcome this, because I had the depression, even though I didn't want to admit to myself, I started running, and I was thinking, what is there out there that really makes me passionate? What helps me to overcome difficulties? What keeps me going? And it was sport again. So I started to do sport, and I found out that I'm maybe also a little bit talented in a way that I used to swim before, and so I started to swim more, and I saw that I improved. Do some biking, do some running, etc., etc. So that's why I still do these things, just because it keeps me alive, and I know what I want, I know what I like, and what I want to do with my life. So it's something that gives me a lot of satisfaction. And what we do here with Thomas, I met Thomas at Empower Network, even in Orlando, because I'm looking for freedom. I've been looking for freedom all my life. I actually started my own business when I was living in Prague at that time when I was together with my girlfriend, my child. And I made a pretty rookie mistake, because I always I was always thinking about starting a business, my own business, and I bought a restaurant. And it wasn't very cheap. And I bought it with my brother. I mean, my brother gave me some money. I invested some of my money, so it was like 50-50. But I signed an agreement or a contract that wasn't actually a good one. And after a couple of months, I think it was like 6 months into this venture, I found out that the contract is not valid, so that I can't stay at that place. So it was I just lost it. So I was struggling all the 6 months, because probably a lot of you guys out there know that if you have a restaurant, you really need to put a lot of energy in it and work a lot, and then then you see the results coming in after some customers start coming back over and over again, and I put a lot of effort, a lot of money into it, and it didn't work out the way I wanted, and then I was kind of very depressed about it, that as well. And that's actually the moment that I decided that this is not my life. My life is not about losing. My life is not about giving up. And I will open another restaurant, and I will make this money, and I will find for a way how to make myself free in a way that I will be financially free, and I go after my dream. And that's the dream actually I still have. I want to have a restaurant here in Hamburg, actually a couple of them, and I would love to build a franchise regarding restaurant, and that's one of my big goals I have, and that's what pushing me as well to be the best I can be, and to reach freedom, and to reach financial freedom. So that was just a very very short time. I tried to explain you guys what I'm about, and what drives me. So you are free to ask anything you want if you are interested in any details regarding anything I've just shared with you. But more or less that's all what I have. So
Yeah, it's great stuff, Maros. I really that was really interesting for me, at least. And how about you, John? You like the story, or?
Well, I do. It's you're very inspiring, Maros. It's I'm first generation in the United States. My parents on my mother's side came from Russia and Latvia. During my mother came to this country when she was like a young teen. and she's, you know, obviously this is back during, you know, the end of the Second World War and whatnot. So I understand a little bit. I mean, I've never lived through what you actually did, having grown up in Czechoslovakia during actually the end of the Cold War, as it were. It's pretty interesting, and it's you know, I can see why you have many passions and you're driven in many ways. It's it's also great that you found sport in order to be able to really kind of really focus, maybe some recklessness. I'm sure that you've been, like you mentioned, you were a bit of a rebel when you were growing up, and I think you really need to be, if you really want to succeed in something. You really have to be able to challenge the way the majority of the people may think, and are maybe conditioned to live. You want to live a different kind of a life, and you've found some motivations in yourself, and you found constructive ways in which to be creative. Your running history is impressive. When I was a kid, I used to like to run. I was never very good at it, but I found that the more miles that you added on, the better I really was. I never could run as fast as the fast ones. And, you know, the milers and 2-milers, well, they were still faster than me too. But it seems that, you know, at the 5-mile and 6-mile, I seem to be, you know, kind of was, you know, at least I could keep up with some of the better runners. So I've never done marathon, and I'm 60 years old today, but you know something, just having known the both of you guys, I know Thomas is very much into fitness, not to the same degree as you are, but you know, he trains more, you know, probably more muscle strength and that kind of stuff. He's got more size to him. I've seen your slender physique. You are built like a runner. And it's pretty damn amazing. But I got to tell you, the both of you guys have inspired me to just, you know, I need to get more fit myself. I just started walking 5 weeks ago, and I'm starting to lose some weight again. I'm a little guy, but you know, maybe like you, I was inspired to hear that. The older you get, perhaps in some future age group, you may be a world record holder. I mean, that's you know, and for me, I just would like to be able to one day maybe complete a marathon. That would be really that would be a goal for me. But your story it's really inspiring, my friend. You've done a lot of living in a relatively short period of time. You're only 40 years of age. And I'm glad you've got a daughter. I'm sure that she inspires you to be a better person, a better father. I'm sure that the relationship that didn't work out happened for a reason, and it's only going to make you a better person down the road, and you'll eventually find that soulmate that you're searching for, and perhaps this person can partner in sport, and then your love for entrepreneurship, and perhaps your restaurant venture. And it's I'm looking forward to a long friendship with you, and I want to just let me know how things are going. I mean, I know you're a blogger. If I were you, I would definitely communicate some of that in your blog too, because I mean, like I say, it's everyone has their own special story, and it's really great. It's really great to hear yours, Maros. So I'll turn it over to you, Thomas or Maros.
Yeah, yes. I just it inspires me as well how you, John, see these things that I just mentioned, and I really believe that anything in life we do and we are striving for, we should never give up. Whatever the chances are, and it's always like impossible can happen, and we don't know how, because there is a universe out there that there are some certain laws, and it's just intention and focus we use, and we can get a lot of things done. And I can just mention one story that always I remember when I am really down. in my life, and I feel like, okay, there is no success that I need at the moment, and you know, how to turn it around, how to think like a successful person, because you can't be successful if you don't have successful ideas, you know, if you kind of think in a way that you can make it. And I remember when in my swimming career I was maybe 15 years old, and I wasn't that very tall guy. I was actually like you know, not short, but I was like in the middle. But all the guys in my age group I was competing against, they were like one head taller than me, at least one head. So it was really like tall guys, and I had like no chance to be better than them in the water, because with their one stroke they were so much faster than me. So I had to make like 2 strokes in the water to keep up with them, and even because of that, I still was able to be like I've landed on a 2nd place many times in the national championship in my country, which was pretty amazing too. But you know, I spent like 5 hours a day or 4 hours in the water, so that explains why. So you know, if you train a lot, you get better. So, but I never actually, I could at the time never reach the, you know, to be number 1. I really wanted to be the number 1, even though I didn't express it openly. But you think about this. I wasn't thinking about it every day, because some days I hated swimming, because if you spend 4 hours a day in water, pushing, at some point you are a 40 years old kid. You know, there are girls out there. You know, there are some interesting movies. All your friends, do interesting stuff. They play some games, and you are just training. So it takes just like half of your life. Even I was sleeping at school because I was so tired during my classes. So, but you know what happened at one of the championships, because I was at many of them. And at one of them, my biggest competitor, this guy was really tall. He was always better than me. You know, he took the 1st place all the time. When I had a good day, I was the 2nd, and then there was a third place. Another friend of mine in my club. But the one day, and I didn't even know that, he got sick exactly at the day of the championship. 1 year. It was 1 year. It happened at this championship. I don't know what year exactly. I think I was like 14 or 15. And at that day, I actually won. Just because this guy was sick, I won. So I was number 1 in my country, one time in my life. So, and anytime I feel like, okay, it's not going to work, this or that in my life, I always think about this day when I won the 1st place, just because my competitor was not there. He was probably lying in bed, with a flu or something. But you never know, things happen, the things you don't expect, and then you get what you want. So just to let you guys know that I have a story, and it's in my treasure that helps me a lot to overcome some depressing feelings when I believe that something is not going to turn out as I wanted. I don't know, Thomas, if you have any.
Yeah. I think questions? that was really an inspiring story with the swimming there, and it really made me think that it's just so important that if we have a dream, something that we really want to do here in life, it's so important that we keep doing it, and we keep trying to be the best, or do it the best way we can, even that we maybe, like you had somebody there that will beat you every time. But if you haven't showed up and did your best, then that one day that he got sick, you might not have been the winner, because if you have only been doing like 80% or 90% up to that, then somebody else would have beaten you. And I think these small stories, if we can take them and use them for something good in the rest of our life, or to inspire other people to understand what kind of power or energy there is in doing these things, even at the moment it might seem really difficult or really hopeless, but something happens. And we hear all these stories all the time with people, all of a sudden something happened that they didn't have any control of, and then they succeed, because then the road was open, they could just go for it. But that was not because they just showed up that one day. That was because you have been showing up for many days and many hours in the water, So it's we could take that story and like you say, you use it now in your life today. That's a really powerful experience, and I'm really that really inspired me. It was awesome, and and also I like to hear more about your childhood and all that stuff. You had a childhood that I live here in Denmark. It's a open country as long as I been living here and all that stuff. We have never been through anything like you have with your life and your country and your culture. So it's for me it's difficult to really understand it. Even that somehow I kind of understand what you've been going through in your childhood or until all the stuff that's been going on in your country. But still, I don't know. I've never have any of those feelings or like so it's still really inspiring and really nice to hear these personal stories about it, because it really maybe makes me understand a little more about what has actually been going on for a lot of people living in these countries like you have, Maros. It's really inspiring, and I'm really happy you share this with us, and hope we can hear more stories about your childhood and all that, because I'm sure there's been a lot of stuff happening in your life that like John and I and people who watch this is really difficult to even understand.
I can tell you something funny also, because I love reading about the Cold War and what really happened, how it changed people's lives, because we really lived in fear. I mean, I was a child, and it was these were moving times, but I was enjoying them, because when you were a child or maybe a teenager, you just want to enjoy life. You don't care about politics more or less. I mean, unless you are somebody who is into politics so much that you are interested into it. But I was enjoying times. I was a rebel. So what all the adults did, I was just watching them, and I was playing along. And trying to enjoy as much as I could, and it was a great times for rebellion. You could do so much stuff and to make people angry and like surprise, and so I used many things, just to show off, and sometimes just to rebel, and to make trouble, and because to me it was like simple and stupid and trivial. Just you were not allowed to say some words. You were not allowed to say what you do in your free time, like go to the church or you get some education regarding religion, but we still met secretly, in the flats and did it in a secret way, and we couldn't talk about it at all, so it was just a small circle of people. We were watching some movies that were forbidden, in private. It was also like a hush, don't talk about this. We meet at 6 p.m. at my flat, and we watch this religious movie, and then we go home. But you are not allowed to tell anybody that you were at my home or that I have this kind of movie, because I might go to jail, or somebody will come to my house, and I will lose my job or something. So it was like it was crazy at the same time, but sometimes interesting. It was like. We had like a secret organization, so. But I think if I remember it correctly, I read some articles that how people actually lived at a time, and they might even be happier in a way, because you see, people were not allowed to do many things. So, but what they were allowed to do was to go to. Many people lived in the cities. It's like everywhere else, but many of them, they have like a cottage out there, outside, and a garden. And because in the city the life was as it was, that you are not able to express yourself freely, many people during the weekend spent their weekends at these cottages. And what I understood from this article I was reading about many years ago is that actually relationships worked much better, because people spend more time together at these cottages, and because they were not allowed to do many politics or many stuff in the cities, that just they just didn't want to stay in the city, because it was kind of risky. Because you can't watch yourself all the time what you're saying. you know, because you have your ideas and you can't all the time watch what you're saying, because one time you say something what you think. So they went out and they spent the time together, you know, the couples. And then they were talking whatever they wanted. They were out there in the wild, you know, many cottages were like in the woods, you know, by the lakes, and you know, at the fireplace in the evening, you know, guitar, singing, and you know, and it was pretty open there. So they were talking about many stuff there, and they felt free. And because of that time, they spent so much time together, they actually enjoyed it more, and the relationships was much better. So divorce rate at that time was pretty low, which is very interesting. So it's interesting how regime can bring people together as well. You know, like-minded people, obviously. So it was pretty interesting that you know, anything bad is good for something. So that was probably the case as well.
It is. It's interesting when you bring that up, because there are people. I remember I had a family member that back when I was a young guy, I was in my 20s. I had an aunt that still lived in the Soviet Union back then. It was still the Soviet Union at the time.
Right.
And you know, my parents went through a lot of stuff here, had to do a lot of paperwork and stuff to get this aunt back, to, you know, to have her emigrate to the United States. And they went through all of it, and she was able to come here. And you know, it was really strange. I remember meeting her. I had communicated only through letters for like many years. It was actually my grandmother's sister that came over here. And after 5 years of her being in this country, she wanted to go back to her own country. The freedoms that existed in the United States were just so, it was just so much for her mind to accept. She had been essentially taught to live in a box, to think in a box, to do what all the others do and don't do, and be okay with it. I think you had kind of the same experience, Maros. The majority of the people, especially those that lived in the cities, they might have had dreams of being able to be free and speak freely and do freely, but they realized that that freedom just wasn't available to them. So they had to live within a box. You were more rebellious. You were always willing to push the envelope. And because of that, I mean, things changed. Fortunately, in your time, things changed, and you were able to go beyond the box. You were able to move to Germany and to really live a fuller life than you may have back in, you know, your early days of Czechoslovakia. But I know it's a different country today. But it's really strange how you mentioned that people go out into the countryside, you know, to these cottages, and just be able to relax and be able to communicate, you know, with one another. And you know something, the key to happiness, I think, you know, be it yourself or be it a couple or whatnot, is really a level of communication. I think even what happened to you, I'm divorced today. I was married 33 years. I raised 2 children, and I have 1 grandchild. But what ends up happening, like in my life, I just stopped communicating with my wife for many, many years. We lived in our own box, and mine was running businesses, and hers was running households, and she had her own career and stuff. And maybe even you and your wife, you were together, but you kind of grew beyond. You both grew up and you both grew apart, and there was no communication. And you know, some lessons to be learned there. There's much to be said about that. So
yeah. Well, I learned a lot about, you know, how choosing the right partner is so important in your life, because you really need somebody who will support you. You really need somebody who can, maybe he's not even having the same ideas about life, but he's somebody who is trying to understand you and trying to support you, even though, you know, he is not on the same path. So I really believe, because you spend so much of your life with your partner, and you really need somebody who will stand by, and that you support you and you support him or her as well. So I learned my lesson, and I am much more kind of aware of that, because at the early stages of my let's say relationships kind of adventures, I didn't really care. I was there was a girl there I loved, and she loved me, and that's it. I didn't care about anything else. And I don't know, sometimes it's the most important thing, but now I think a bit differently. Love is one thing, but also the way people think is another. And I see it also in the relationship with my parents. I see how different they are, and I love them a lot. And with the time, I love them more and more and more, and I enjoy their company. But you see, our thinkings in more and more different. Because I develop in a one way, and they do. They obviously they grew up in a Cold War times and this and that. But they are different as well now than they were before. So they have this freedom thinking as well. But regarding being entrepreneur, starting your own business, if you can imagine Cold War, it was like, this was another thing that was forbidden. You were not even allowed to talk about this stuff. So for me, there was no way at that time, I was 14, 15, no chance to even think about doing my own thing, even selling some simple thing at school, whatever I would have. Because I hear so many entrepreneurs talking about their first kind of thing they did for themselves. I wasn't even aware that such a thing exists, that you can make money on your own selling something, buy something else cheaper, and you sell it to somebody else, for a bit more money, and then make some profit, So it's really interesting that we didn't even know that such a thing exists. We knew that out there is a different world, and we were told that people who do that are bad people, that's what they told us, you do this, you are a bad person, so we are all equal, you make your money, you don't care about anything else, you have your job, and it's secured, and you don't have to worry about anything else. There is a weekend coming, go out to your cottage, and enjoy your free time. So that was,
Tough time to live, a tough time.
Yeah, in a way, yes. But as you said, if you live in this box, you are happy in the box, because because that's what happiness is about, and that's what is told to you, and that's what you start believing. And once you start believing in something, there is no way you go that way, and you enjoy your evenings, in the countryside. Which you can, I mean, anybody enjoys evenings in the countryside. It's pretty, simple and relaxing and great. But you don't have this freedom 5 days a week, so.
That's true.
Yeah. So it was kind of like that during my childhood. So yeah. I know, Thomas, you don't know what I'm talking about, because as you said, Denmark was a free country.
Yeah. At least the whole mindset and the whole psychology about what a whole population, like a whole country, what you have been going through. It's like your parents have been going through some stuff that kind of directed their path in life. So it's probably more difficult for them to really break loose of it and really have a freedom mindset. It's a little easier for you because you were not in it for so long, but it's still interesting to study and to learn about how these generations, when you've been living in this kind of society, like how much it really impact you. Like my parents have a dairy farm, and so they both came from actually the farm we lived on was my mother's home. Like her parents have had that farm. So, but still, farmers, at least at that time, didn't have that much money. We always had money and food and all that stuff, and we didn't miss anything. But my parents never really was like rich and could just have like 2 cars and all kinds of stuff. So they probably had a little, like what I actually was thinking about when you talk about this, Maros, is this kind of simple lifestyle, and there's something that is really an important for me, you know, something I kind of have a vision about that I want for my life. I have a big house now here in Denmark, and car and motorcycle, and basically I want to sell it all and have a total different, more simple lifestyle, and also with find a girlfriend and really try to develop this kind of simple lifestyle where you really value that you have some time together and you get to know each other, and you start to really pay attention to listen to each other and really find out where we're going, you know, because I've been in a relationship where all of a sudden we didn't talk together, and you kind of know it when it going down the wrong road, you know, you kind of know this is not good, you know, but if you don't do anything, and maybe you start blaming each other, like, well, why is she not doing something? And when she's not doing something, I'm not doing something. And then it just goes even worse, you know. And I think for a lot of people today, we have all these options and freedom and stuff, you know, but maybe somehow it kind of confuses a little, or we maybe have a difficult with being grateful for what we have, and I actually think that a simple life would actually be pretty cool, you know. It's like you need to have a big house and 2 cars and a boat and all this stuff, you know. But it's for me, I start to realize more and more it's not what makes me happy. I think it's nice to have and all that stuff, you know. But it's still, I think a lot of times it can mess things up, especially in relationships. If you get more into buying stuff and doing stuff like outside of yourself, like you need to go out dinner and movies and holidays and all this stuff to kind of showing off, you know. I think that could be a great value in getting back and have a more simple life, and that seems to me like what you have experienced in your childhood, Maros, and I still think we still need to find the balance, you know, but I still think there's some valuable, something we can learn from that kind of lifestyle, not the whole psychology, all the stress and all the stuff you couldn't talk about and all that. That's not good, you know, but we can easily live in a country today where we have freedom. We can talk and do whatever we want, you know, but we can still maybe have a little more focus on a more simple lifestyle. That's what I think could be a good solution for a lot of people. I think I'm pretty sure it will for me someday, but yeah. It's,
I just want to add, guys, that what we really try to do here, me and also Thomas and John, is that for anybody who's watching this, is that you know, we are all more powerful than we think we are. We are much more powerful in a way that we can create any life we want to create. And sometimes we just live in this box and we believe this box is our happiness. And sometimes it's true, and many times it's not. And if it's not true, then you have to find a way out of this box. You know, if I can use a comparison, you know, elephants, big creatures, they are chained, but this chain it's you know, it's tiny. You know, they can rip it apart and run, and they don't. Just because they probably believe or think, I don't know if they have a belief, but you know they get food, they get water. And you know, they were raised probably like that, and they live that way. So, but I know that it takes courage. It takes a tremendous courage to live outside the box, to change your thinking, to change your belief, and it's not easy. And sometimes you just have to take this step out of your comfort zone and just do it. And the thing is that it might not work, and then you might give up. You know, and then you start believing, okay, maybe I should go back to my box, you know, because that's where I belong. And that is wrong thinking, because you have to start over and over and over and over again until you break it, until you find a way in the jungle and you never come back. And that's what we are trying to do here with these hangouts as well. We're trying to help anybody who's watching to get out of his box and to create his life or her life that he or she wants. The life that you deserve, the life that you want, and the life that belongs to you. So no, that would be my last thoughts for these hangouts, and that's why we work with the company we work with, because we really believe in their ideas, in their belief in freedom, in freedom in any meaning, regarding financial freedom, regarding freedom of having free thoughts, freedom of doing whatever you want anytime you want, and freedom of being who you really are and showing who you really are, and be powerful at the same time.
Yeah, you know what I just wanted to add something to this before we close it out for the day. Part of something that the three of us really share, even though we live in different countries and we're different ages, different interests, but one of the things that the three of us really share is we have a spirit that to live a different life than the majority. In this particular industry, network marketing that we're really involved in, Empower Network is a network marketing company. I've been involved in this industry for a very long time, and I've talked to, I can't tell you how many thousands of people I've talked to over the years about this particular industry and the opportunity. What you end up finding is that probably 97%, 98% of all the people that you run across live in a box. It might be a box labeled ultimate career, or it might be a box of, great job, or, whatever the mindset happens to be. Very few are rebels. Very few are really have the spirit inside of them that they just want something better than what everybody else is experiencing. And probably the most difficult challenge that all of us really face, even online on the internet. The amazing thing about technology is we can connect with millions of people. This video will probably eventually be watched by millions of people over a period of time. And I think my message to the people that are watching this would probably be, do you have that spirit inside of you that wants more than what everybody else is settling for? If you want what everybody else wants, well, then continue doing what you're doing. I hope that you're happy. But if you want more, then you have to go outside the box. You have to want to be the best and fastest swimmer and runner. You want to be the best marketer that you can be. You may not be number one, but eventually you'll also learn something that I've learned over the years, is that I no longer necessarily want to be number one. I just want to be the best that I can be. And that's going to be good enough. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to connect with a lot of people that just want to be the best that they want to be. And so will Maros, and so will Thomas, and so will anybody that's watching this. Everything can be learned. Skills can be developed, but spirit has to be something that you're born with. You either want a better life, you want to do what the rebels are doing, or you don't. You know what I mean? And I'm going to turn it to you, Thomas.
Yeah, I think unfortunately we missed Maros there, but but we are actually going to close it up now, and I think you guys have said some really awesome stuff here as a finish off for today's hangout, and I think I could add something on, but we're just gonna keep going on forever and ever. And we got Maros coming back on here.
Okay, Maros, you're back.
I think it's been really an awesome hangout, and it's I think we really learned today that we need to get into more of these personal stories, because it really open up something, and it really inspiring, and it really touches something, just getting a little deeper into the conversation, and share some stuff, I think it's really really awesome, and something that well, we're just getting started with making these hangouts, you know, so we're learning as we're going, you know, so, but I still think today's hangout was really, really awesome with the personal stories and the conversation we had around it, you know. It was really, really awesome, you know. I really enjoy it, and thank you to you, Maros, for sharing your story today, and it was really interesting to get to know you a little better, you know a little where you're coming from, and what you've been going through, you know, and it's absolutely awesome, and also thank you, John, for being on here today. It was great you got time, and I know
the honor is mine. It was truly my honor to be here. Thank you for having me here.
And
thank
great
you, guys. Sorry, I just lost my internet connection for a couple of seconds, but I will most probably watch it again, and just the last part.
Yeah, but we were just.
Guys, so you Thomas, you want to be the next one, or I don't know, or John, you know.
It doesn't matter. Either one is fine. My story is longer, probably because I've lived a little bit more. But
I'm really, you know, I'm looking forward to both of you guys, both stories, because you know, I met Thomas, but I don't know much about his story, and you, John, the same. So. You know, I will have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
we'll flip a coin. We can flip a coin next time, and we'll do it.
We will, but I think we should definitely continue with this kind of talk. You know, it's been really awesome, and again, thank you guys, and it was really, really nice, and also thank you to you out there if you're watching this, you know, and hope you find this inspiring like we did. You know, it's really really great stuff, and if you have any question for Maros, for your story, something you can relate to or something, you know, reach out and contact him, you know, and otherwise you're also always welcome to contact John or me if you have any questions, you know, or you want to need an email for somebody and you can't connect or can't find the other person, you know, just reach out to one of us, you know. We will help you out, you know, and if you're interested in knowing more about what we're running around doing, why we are so passionate about doing these hangouts and sharing our story, giving some great value out there, you know, what that can, how that can make our life a lot more happy, a lot more value, and how we are actually using that in our business online. And if you want to know more about that, you're of course also very welcome. And we are gonna be back pretty soon, maybe I don't know, maybe Friday or next Monday with another hangout, you know. So if you guys wanna come back, you know, you'll be very welcome. And again, thanks guys, and see you guys soon. So bye bye.
All right, take care, guys.
Yeah, ciao ciao.